What's up? What's up? So, I got a question about ego in combat sports and whether it plays a role in your performance. Now, for those that don't know, I've competed in jiu-jitsu from white belt all the way to black belt. That's actually my belt behind me. I'm a first degree black belt. I've won a bunch of medals, won a bunch of tournaments. I fought in amateur mixed martial arts where I became a champion, defended my title, and then I fought professionally as well in MMA. Now, I believe ego is just commonly referred to as a more than normal self belief because day to day people just don't need an amplified amount of self belief. It's good to have, it's encouraged, but for them, it's just not necessary. So, the main thing to remind yourself is with combat sports, especially if you're competing, if you're fighting, you are entering the unknown. No matter how much you prepare, there might be circumstances, and most likely it will happen, that something may happen that you will not expect. But you need to have the confidence to know that no matter what happens, you will know what to do and when to do it. And this all stemming from self-belief. Because combat sports is a battle of preparation, and with preparation, I incorporate technique, skill, because that's all your training sessions, you're preparing for the event. Preparation, will, and self-belief. Since it's a clash of self-belief, you need to believe in yourself more than the person standing across from you, more than anything that you will ever hear, whether it's from their corner or even people that you may know that don't have the belief within themselves. They don't understand why you're doing it, how you're doing it. So sometimes they're just not going to say the most encouraging shit. And you just need to make that irrelevant. You need to make everything around you irrelevant. You need to become self-reliant. So your sense of self-belief needs to be so strong that you're not shaken by anything. Even leading up to it, the day of the fight, everything. The presence of your opponent can't shake you. The presence of the crowd, hearing them, or the anxiety or nervousness you might feel going into it. Because it's going to be up to you how you interpret that. You either can interpret that as nervousness or you can interpret that as excitement to know that you're ready for it and you're excited to show and display your dominance. That's my approach with it, at least. So the main thing is, like I said, you need to have this sense of belief that in all your training sessions, you need to give your all. For some reason, when a lot of people think about fighting and competing, they always forget you actually have to get ready for it. You can't just hop in the mix and like, all right, I'm ready to go, because the other person's been training the entire time. So that in itself requires self-belief to prepare for it. Because a lot of times when people realize you actually have to get ready for it, they kind of just fade out and change their mind of like, I didn't expect this. So you need to believe in yourself that no matter how hard the training sessions are, no matter how you're feeling, how exhausted you are, that you're going to be able to endure it. No problem. You're going to know for a fact that it's not even in question the improvements that you're making day to day, second to second. You know for a fact the second you wake up and by the time you go to sleep, so much improvement is going to be made that you're taking huge leaps towards the person that you want to be. The person is going to be required to beat every single person that stands across from you. And like I said, it's a journey. It's a process. Sometimes, you're going to have, everything has its peaks and valleys, its ebb and flow. So whether you have a training session that doesn't go your way, or, sometimes people hit a plateau and those training sessions that don't go your way kind of last a few days, a few weeks, some people a few months. And you can't let that waver your self-belief. You need to be so firm in what you believe in yourself that nothing's going to change it. Even if you have a match, you have a fight that doesn't go your way, it still doesn't change the belief that you have in yourself. If anything, it should start to amplify more and more and more. The wins and losses shouldn't change how much you believe in yourself. It should always continue to add, because you need to be self-reliant. You need that. It's self-belief. It's not belief from the outside. You're not getting, affirmations from you're not being reaffirmed from the outside, from anybody else. It has to be from yourself. So even if it doesn't go your way, you need to know for sure, okay, there's something I needed to learn from this. In order to become the person that I know myself to be, there's something I needed to learn. And this was the path in order for me to learn that. I had to go through this experience in order to become this person. And like I said, that's that healthy, what people refer to as ego. Because there's going to be people that just do not understand it. Those are the people that they'll ask questions trying to figure out why you're doing what you're doing. And they might portray some of their fears. Aren't you scared? Aren't you nervous? Like I said, it's all based on you, how you interpret those things. But what you're hearing around you can't shake you. It needs to be all irrelevant. Now, where ego becomes unhealthy and it starts to go against you, too much ego is when you start to lose respect for your opponent. When you start to feel like you're God. And it's good to have that strong sense of belief. But when you feel like somebody can't touch you, then you're not giving that person the same amount of respect. It's good to have the confidence that somebody can't touch you. It's like a very fine line of knowing that you've prepared yourself in such a way that somebody cannot touch you the day of the fight. But because you have given them the respect that you need to prepare in such a way, there's still, like I said, there's still that respect of I need to give every ounce of my being to every training session. So it's not just words, it's not just hype, it's not just something to sound cool, it's not a caption. You need to back it up with this is what's required of myself to back up this belief. And if you just feel like that's just automatic because you said it, then most of the time you're not going to bring your all to every training session because you just feel like you're that nice. And because you're not bringing your all to every training session, when it comes time to fight, you're not going to be as sharp as you should be. Most of the time, whoever you're fighting, especially as you climb higher in the ranks, they're giving their fucking all to every training session. I know I was when I was competing. So everybody's giving their all to every training session. So when you go to compete, when it comes time to display what you've prepared, most of the time, because you don't respect them, your awareness is going to be pretty fucking low. You're not going to be as alert because you feel like this person can't touch you. And most of the time, that's when you get touched. So that's when, it's not so much when people start boasting and they start talking, like, you have the common names that people refer to when they think about ego. People think about Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, but he also prepared in such a way. He respects his opponents in such a way to have that self-belief. And the list goes on. Ali, whoever, Tyson, they still gave their opponents that respect in order to give their all to every training session. Now, having too little ego, you start to question your abilities. You start to question yourself more than you should, more than you need to. And, even down to your training sessions, you start to question whether you're even capable of doing what's needed of you to even prepare for the fight. And most of the time, because of that, your choice from nervousness and excitement, you start to go more towards nervousness and anxiety. And all that starts to build up. And now this person in your head person that you're fighting in your head is this big Goliath person. And you start to wonder, why am I even doing this? And actually, that's a joke that, a lot of fighters and competitors, say that they think at some point, why the hell did I even think to do this? It crosses everybody's mind. But the main thing is, with a strong sense of self-belief, you know why you're doing it. So that answers the question. It just crosses your mind. It doesn't stay there. That having, that lack of self-belief, it stays there and it lingers. And now you're focused more on your opponent than yourself. And that's exactly how the fight will play out. Now, sometimes it kind of falls in people's favor, the nervousness and everything, because it kind of puts them in this state of hyper focus in order to just block out the intense anxiety that they're feeling. But that's also balanced with that ego, that self-belief. Prime example is GSP. He used to get nervous as shit before his fights. And like he would just want to leave. But he also had a strong sense of self-belief where like once his anxiety hit its peak, then he will kind of balance himself out with that sense of self-belief. So, I mean, personally for me, the way I worked and getting ready for fights is like, I will feel some butterflies like once I agree to do it. But I interpret that as like, all right, I'm kind of excited. And, I would prepare and I would see my opponent as, okay, this is the most elite person I have to get ready for. They're elite in every aspect of fighting. So this is going to require my all. And I need to, in my mind, they've been prepared. They've been at the elite for years. So I need to narrow this down. And the best way to cut those years down and make it even and make myself better than them is every training session needs to require my all, my entire focus, my entire being. Nothing exists other than this fight and preparing for it. My life is on the line. And like when you sign the contract, it does say in there that if you do happen to pass, it's not their responsibility. I mean, you're fighting. But people don't think about that. I thought about that as a matter of that's the way I enter things. It's all or nothing. So just for the fact that I know I'm like that, I expect my opponent to be like that. So in the beginning, that's my approach. I build the opponent to be up here and I'm working my way up. As the fight gets closer, by the time it's time to fight, I surpass my opponent. So I know for a fact, because of my preparation, he cannot touch me. And I know for a fact that I will dominate him, no matter where it goes. Even if their specialty is somewhere where I, quote unquote, would have a weakness. I removed that weakness because that was my emphasis in preparation for it. So from the outside looking in, it may seem like ego, but only you know how your journey went step by step from the beginning, climbing up that mountain, climbing up the hill. You know it's self-belief. It doesn't matter what other people say. It never matters what other people say because they have no fucking clue. People are just talking from their perspective. Each and every person that crosses your life, family members, friends, whoever, everybody's talking from their perspective. So what they're saying essentially is irrelevant because only you know every second of your life. So you know for a fact that you've built that belief. You've built the right for you to believe that. And you know for a fact that it's backed up in that way. So yeah, this is kind of like a more in-depth video. I'm going to start doing these where I'll do kind of like a short, brief explanation on social media. I'm still going to do my short clips. I kind of like doing those. But I know YouTube requires some longer clips. So from some questions that I get from people, I'm going to do like a short clip and go more in depth on YouTube. So give you guys some more content. All right, so this is my breakdown about ego, fighting, why I think it's necessary. And yeah, thanks for checking things out. Like, share, subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.